Canada's major party leaders will meet this Wednesday for the first of two debates, which could prove pivotal in this tight race. The latest numbers have the Liberals ahead with just under 45% support, while the Conservatives are just 7 points behind. For an in-depth look at those numbers is Nick Nanos, founder and chief data scientist at Nanos Research. He's joining us from Ottawa this morning. Nick, so you just listened to our conversation, I assume, with NDP leader Jagmeet Singh. Where does he have to build support over the next 2 weeks? We should remind everybody he's sitting at 9% as of this morning.
Yeah, you know, the thing is for Jagmeet Singh, the real game for him is Ontario and British Columbia. Half of his caucus is in British Columbia, so that's critical. He's also based in British Columbia, so it's a bit of a 2-for-1. I would expect that in the close of the campaign, he'll probably spend a lot of time in Vancouver. But outside of that, it's probably Ontario. You know, there are ridings like Ottawa Centre and the Hamiltons and stuff like that that are actually really important for the New Democrats. I'm not surprised that he's in Ottawa today. But right now, when we're looking at NDP support at around 9% nationally, that's about, compared to other federal elections, that's a low that we haven't seen for 25 years, back in the 2000 election. And it speaks to the difficulty that he has. It looks like there are people that are New Democrats or have been New Democrats over the last couple of years that are currently opting for the Liberals in order to block Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives right now, Anne-Marie.
Yeah, well, there's two leaders in this race that want Jagmeet Singh to do better. One is Jagmeet Singh and the other is Pierre Poilievre, because when the NDP is stronger, presumably the Liberals are weaker. Speaking of the Conservatives, they managed to close the gap on the Liberal Party just a bit over the past couple of weeks. Is that momentum continuing for Pierre Poilievre's party? They're at 7 points behind, and about a week ago they were around 4.
Yeah, the thing is I think we're in a bit of a holding pattern, Anne-Marie, as we enter and get close to the French and the English debates. And I think for a lot of voters, they're going to wait to see, you know, how all of the federal party leaders perform in both of those. And it's going to be especially important for actually. These debates are going to be important for everyone, because for Mark Carney, he can't mess up because he's ahead. Yeah. For Pierre Poilievre, he needs to try to punch through in order to close the gap even more. And for Jagmeet Singh, he needs to articulate why voting New Democrat is a good option and why it can kind of help things in terms of the House of Commons. And even for Blanchet, the Bloc Party leader, you know, he's trailing the Liberals in Quebec by about 20 points, Anne-Marie. Like, he's going to come out swinging against Mark Carney on Wednesday night for sure.
It'll be one to watch, that's for sure. Listen, the gap in party polling may have been narrowing in this last week, but Mark Carney has been ahead in preferred prime minister numbers for quite a while. That has not changed. After this weekend, Mark Carney still leads with almost 50% of support, 49.8%, while Poilievre is polling around 34.3%. I know we vote for our local members. We do not vote for a leader on our ballots. But how much impact would you say this difference is having on the chances of each party?
Well, I think it puts a spotlight on what's really driving vote behavior right now, especially for the Liberals, that it's not the Liberals or people being happy about what's happened in the last 10 years. It's about Mark Carney being a different leader than Justin Trudeau. And Mark Carney, and the promise of Mark Carney is potentially a different direction for the Liberals. But, you know, for Pierre Poilievre, I think if he wants to really close the gap between him and Mark Carney, or between the Conservatives and the Liberals, he's got to kind of up his game on the leadership front. He also has to kind of better articulate kind of his position on Donald Trump, to show that he can manage the relationship with Donald Trump as well or better than any other federal party leader. So I expect Pierre Poilievre to focus more on leadership, because on the issues front, he's got it nailed in terms of the cost of living and all that kind of stuff. It's just he needs to elevate his game a little more to be competitive, and a lot of that has to do with leadership.
This is the point in the campaign where it starts to be a little bit Moneyball, where it starts to be a bit of a numbers game, and where you need to gain and where you're going to sort of let things go. So we've talked about the Liberals gathering more support in the GTA and the Montreal region, in particular since the change in leadership from Justin Trudeau to Mark Carney. So where are each of these parties going to be focusing in their support in these last 2 weeks?
I would expect for the Liberals at the beginning, and probably it'll be Quebec, because they need to make sure that Quebec stays red from their perspective. If the French debate unravels for Mark Carney and Quebec unravels for Mark Carney, then it's going to be good news for Pierre Poilievre. So I think for the Liberals, it'll be Quebec, followed by Ontario, and then British Columbia, because the vote splits are favoring the Liberals right now. For the Conservatives, it's probably going to be seat-rich Ontario, that they need to do better in the suburbs in Ontario, in the Etobicoke Lake Shores, Brampton, Mississaugas, those types of ridings. They're doing well outside of the big cities. And for the New Democrats, I expect BC and Ontario to be the big focus for them in the close of the campaign.
Founder and chief data scientist at Nanos Research, Nick Nanos, I love starting out the week with you. You let us know what we need to be looking for. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
If you like that video, make sure to subscribe to the Your Morning YouTube feed, where you can find all kinds of new content posted every weekday morning.